Have you ever lost your peace because of just one sentence? Someone says something small, maybe a joke, maybe an insult, and suddenly your mood changes. Your mind starts racing, your heart beats faster, and without even thinking, you react. You reply quickly, you defend yourself, you try to prove your point. But later, when you are alone, you start thinking, why did I react like that? Now imagine something different. The same situation, the same words, but this time you don't react. You stay calm. You stay silent. And nothing inside you is disturbed. It sounds difficult, maybe even impossible. But if you think deeply, it also sounds powerful. In this video, we are going to talk about something very important, the power of not reacting. We will understand why we react so quickly, why small things affect us so deeply, and how learning to stay calm in difficult moments can completely change your life. Most people think power means speaking fast, answering back, or winning arguments. But real power is quiet. Real power is control. It is the ability to stay calm when everything inside you is asking you to react. The truth is, we don't react because we want to. We react because we feel forced to. When someone disrespects us, we feel like we need to reply. When someone ignores us, we feel like we need to prove something. When someone criticizes us, we feel like we must defend ourselves. And all of this comes from one place, ego. Ego is that voice inside us that says, I cannot stay silent, or I cannot look weak, or I must show them who I am. Because of this, even small things start feeling very big. A simple comment turns into an insult. A small disagreement turns into a fight. A small misunderstanding turns into distance. If you look at your daily life, you will notice this everywhere. At home, one angry sentence can turn into a long argument. At work, one piece of feedback can feel like a personal attack.
On social media, one negative comment from a stranger can disturb your entire mood. And all of this happens because we react immediately. We don't pause. We don't think. We just react. But what does reacting actually give us? When you react quickly, you don't think clearly. And when you don't think clearly, you say things you don't really mean. You hurt people. You damage relationships. You create problems that didn't even need to exist. And later, you feel regret. You keep replaying the situation in your mind, thinking, I should not have said that, or I could have handled it better. But by then, it is already done. Reacting also creates stress, because every reaction brings more thoughts, more overthinking, and more emotional pressure. One small moment becomes a heavy mental burden. And the worst part is, you lose your peace, not because of what happened, but because of how you reacted to it. This is where the real understanding begins. Not reacting is not weakness. It is strength. Anyone can react. It is easy. Even a child reacts. But staying calm, staying silent, and staying in control, that takes real strength. Not reacting means you're not controlled by other people. It means you're not controlled by your emotions. It means you are in control of yourself. There's a big difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is instant and emotional. A response is calm and thoughtful. A reaction creates problems, but a response creates solutions. When you don't react immediately, you give yourself something very powerful: time. Time to think, time to understand, and time to choose the right action. And sometimes, that small delay can completely change the outcome of a situation. Let's look at some real-life situations. Imagine someone insults you. If you react immediately, you argue, you fight, and both people end up angry. But if you don't react, if you stay calm and simply walk away, the situation ends there.
Now think about who really had control in that moment. At work, if your boss criticizes you and you react emotionally, you damage your image. But if you stay calm, listen carefully, and respond wisely, you grow. In a family argument, if you react quickly, the fight becomes bigger. But if you stay silent for a moment, the situation can calm down. Even on social media, when someone writes something negative, reacting only wastes your time and energy. Not reacting keeps your peace. There is something very important to understand here. Between what happens and how you respond, there is a small gap. And in that gap lies your power. Most people don't use this gap. They react instantly. But if you learn to pause, even for a few seconds, you take control. Emotions rise quickly, especially anger. But they also fade if you don't feed them. Think of anger like fire. If you react, you add fuel to that fire. But if you stay calm, the fire slowly dies. Time reduces intensity. What feels like a big problem right now may feel much smaller after a few minutes. That is why delaying your reaction is so powerful. Now let's talk about what you can actually do in real life. The first step is simple: pause. Before reacting, just stop for a moment. Even 5 seconds can make a difference. Take a deep breath. This helps calm your body and slows your reaction. Ask yourself simple questions like, is this worth my energy? Or, will this matter tomorrow? Sometimes, just asking these questions can change your response. If needed, walk away from the situation. Not every situation needs your presence. And not every argument needs your participation. Learn to choose your battles. You don't have to win everything. You just need to protect your peace. And sometimes silence is the best response. Silence is not empty. It is powerful. When you start practicing this, your life begins to change. You feel more peaceful. Your mind becomes calmer.
Your relationships improve because you stop creating unnecessary conflicts. You start thinking more clearly and making better decisions. You develop a quiet kind of confidence, not loud, not aggressive, but strong and stable. People also start respecting you more. Not because you talk more, but because you react less. You become someone who is not easily disturbed. And slowly, you realize something very important. Not everything deserves your attention, and not everything deserves your energy. And that realization gives you freedom. So the next time something happens, someone says something, or a situation goes wrong, don't react immediately. Pause. Breathe. Think. Ask yourself, is this worth losing my peace? Because in the end, your peace is more important than any argument. Your calm is more powerful than any reaction. And your silence can sometimes speak louder than words. Remember this, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing. Because the real power is not in reacting, but in not reacting.